This clip of the Texas Bucket List is brought to you by Spirit of Texas Bank, Slovacek Sausage, Germania Insurance, We Rent It, and RV Source. Howdy, and welcome back to the Texas Bucket List. You know, the Lone Star State is full of tall tales, and what tale could be taller than the legend of a towering windmill taken down by an extraterrestrial? It's not something you'd expect to hear in these parts, or would you? Aurora, Texas, a small community north of Fort Worth, may be named for the glimmering light show seen in the sky, but it's something that fell from the wild blue yonder that's legendary in this town.
Well, you guys have interesting history here.
We do have at that, yes.
Dan McIntyre is the town's historic preservation officer. An interesting title for a place that's only got about 1,200 people, but it used to be much bigger.
We used to have a population, I understand, over 5,000 here, and there was some problems. They had an epidemic that went through and kind of wiped a lot of the population out. Also, the railroad bypassed the town. There's a pamphlet out called The Town That Almost Was.
During the continuous downtrodden times of the late 1800s, something out of this world is said to have happened here.
Well, there's a rumor about the spaceship that hit one of the windmills.
File this one under strange and unusual, because this story is just getting started.
As I understand it, the spaceship hits Judge Proctor's windmill out there and crashes. They took the alien's body and they buried him at the cemetery and gave him a Christian burial. Several of the people in the area, they went out and looked at the crash scene. I understand they threw parts of the spacecraft down in the well. Other people just took, and carried off what they could of it, which people would do, I would suspect.
The alleged crash even made the Dallas Morning News on April 19, 1897. Submitted to the paper by Aurora resident S.E. Hayden, a local cotton buyer, the alien news wasn't front page by any means, but it did make page 5. While skepticism was high back in the day, some still believe that something happened here. All you have to do is go to the cemetery, where the alien is said to have been buried.
Well, I'm sure you guys get some interesting characters visiting town.
Of course.
You think it's an alien over there, Mary? Yeah.
A large stone serves as the marker to the foreign body that has apparently been moved to keep curious kleptos from digging up whatever could be resting in the Aurora Cemetery.
And this is my understanding, that he was moved and buried elsewhere so that, people couldn't go around digging him up. And it would make sense to a degree. The people that did that are all dead. I don't know if they passed it on to anybody else, but I'm not aware of anybody that knows actually the actual burial site. But, again, that going back to that good old Texas law, you got to get permission of his next of kin to dig him up anyway, so who knows?
Unless you're the people redigging him somewhere.
Unless you're the people that's going to move him.
Despite being a far-out story with no real physical proof, people still stop by to pay their respects to Ned, the resident out-of-this-world alien corpse that may or may not be buried here.
Hello?
You came all this way, you're out in the middle of nowhere, you gotta at least venture another 50 yards to see the alien.
Ricky Lee and family happened to be saying goodbye to a lost loved one from this earth when they decided to see what the cosmic commotion was all about.
Yeah, I think there's an alien down there.
It's just part of our background to come up here, and when we have a funeral, a family funeral, we come and pay our respects to the alien also, so.
How fun is it to show up at a cemetery after someone just gets out of a funeral and have them over here laughing and smiling not even 5 minutes after that?
I thought it was very interesting, and it lent a lot. I think they enjoyed it a lot. I think it probably lessened their pain. That's what I've seen anyway. And for me, I thought it was nice. Very few funerals can say that.
So the story of an alien ship that crashed in the windmill of one Judge Proctor lives on. Perhaps for light years. But it does bring a smile to some when they need it most. And keeps that tingling question of, are we alone, hovering in our heads.
I like to think there's other life out there. I not so sure the people of Aurora back in the 1800s were so sure about what they saw, but I'd like to think it's true. It'd be awesome.
It's the essence of the question, are we alone out there?
We're not alone. We know that. You know, we know we're not alone, but what's there? Who's there? That's the question. That's the big question right there, isn't it?
It's just because it's a good story, a good old hometown story. So it's good to come follow a trail.
I am a strong believer in the dear Lord is powerful enough that if he wanted to create another universe and other people, he could have done it. He didn't have to tell us about it. Now that's what I believe strongly.
Do I believe? Might as well. All for the fun of it.
There's going to be a point in time when you guys are digging a grave and you're going to come across an unmarked grave. Do you venture opening it?
I don't expect to open anything.
I'm gonna have to ask you to look right here. Your car's parked over there. Good luck.
What are we doing here, Matt? What are we doing here?